What is up, Mizzou fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, covering your Missouri Tigers, and we've got some breaking transfer portal news as the Missouri Tigers have picked up a commitment from now former ULM transfer running back Ahmad Hardy. This is coming from On3 Recruiting Network. Ahmad Hardy was one of the top running backs in the transfer portal, and as you may have heard, Mizzou lost their young, talented running back, Kawan Lacey, who was a true freshman this past season. They lost him to the transfer portal, and he went to Ole Miss, and that was considered a big loss because based off what Lacey showed in his freshman season, it looked like he was going to be in line to be the starting running back next year after Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll depart after their final game here in the bowl game versus Iowa. They're out of eligibility, so it looked like Juan Lacey was next in line, and a lot of us were excited about his potential, but he goes to Ole Miss in the transfer portal. Mizzou turns around, and they pick up Ahmad Hardy out of the transfer portal, and he rushed for over 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns as a true freshman at ULM. Coming out of high school, Hardy was an under-recruited three-star that didn't really have any power conference options, so he goes to ULM where he absolutely lit it up as a true freshman, was one of the best running backs in the country, and then I'm going to pull this stat from at PFF College on Twitter, and according to them, Ahmad Hardy had 94 missed tackles forced in 2024, and the only player that had more was, of course, Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, who is widely regarded as the best running back in college football from this past season. Hardy had some pretty significant interest from some other SEC schools, including Ole Miss and Kentucky. Now, after Ole Miss was able to steal Kawan Lacey from Mizzou, that landing spot seemed a little less likely, and then, of course, Kentucky was the main competition. They really wanted him, but Missouri jumps out in front of them, gets Ahmad Hardy on campus, and he did not leave without a commitment. On3 Recruiting Network has Hardy listed as a 4-star transfer, so pretty big pickup. They had him rated as one of the best running backs in all of the transfer portal. And then 24/7 Sports now has Missouri with the number 10 overall transfer portal class after the addition of Hardy. Hardy was also a freshman All-American this past season, so Mizzou is adding an absolute stud, and they recovered about as well as you could have expected them to after losing a player like Lacey, who I'm sure they didn't want to lose, but ultimately that is the current landscape of college football that we're in. But Drinkwitz had a press conference earlier today talking about the transfer portal and mentioned how Mizzou values production much more over potential. Kawan Lacey was someone that had a lot of potential, but we hadn't quite seen it yet. Ahmad Hardy ran for over 1,300 yards as a true freshman. Now, a little bit different level of competition down there in the Sun Belt. However, it's not like he had an all-world offensive line blocking for him, and I would think the guy that ran for over 1,300 yards as a true freshman would translate pretty well to the SEC, and coming into Mizzou's zone running scheme and playing under running backs coach Curtis Looper, he's had a ton of success. If there's one area that I 100% trust this staff with, it's the running back position because they have churned out 1,000-yard rushers over the years since Drinkwitz and Looper have been here. Mizzou has had a running back lead the SEC in rushing multiple times. And this also wouldn't be the first time they took a kid from a lower level of football at running back and turned them into an absolute star at Mizzou. But, if you watch some Hardy highlights, he's got a second gear, he's fast, but he's physical enough. He's 5'10", 205 pounds. He's an absolute wrecking ball, though. He will run at you. He will run around you. Big, physical, but also has plenty of speed. He definitely had quite a few breakaway runs at ULM. And the thing I noticed was a lot of his big plays came running outside zone, and Mizzou loves to run outside zone. I have zero doubt that Hardy is going to succeed at Mizzou, and I would put money on him being a 1,000-yard rusher next year. This is a pretty good one-for-one trade. Kawan Lacey for Ahmad Hardy. I would argue that Mizzou pretty much upgraded there. I like Lacey. I think he's going to do really well, unfortunately, now for another team. But Hardy did more as a freshman. Hardy actually ran for over 1,300 yards playing Division I football. I mean, this is someone that is going to make me completely forget about Lacey or not really care as much about losing him because you replaced him with someone that's equal, if not better. And additionally, Ahmad Hardy has 3 years of eligibility, and that's a huge thing for me. He's likely going to be at Mizzou for multiple years. This isn't just a Band-Aid fix at the running back position, someone that's a senior already like a Nate Noel or a Marcus Carroll. Hardy is here for multiple years, assuming he doesn't transfer again, which isn't impossible, but he's got multiple years of eligibility. I would say Mizzou won this trade, Lacey for Hardy. Lacey was more potential over production. Hardy's the complete opposite. He was rated as one of the best running backs in the transfer portal for a reason. Getting him over Kentucky and Ole Miss was huge in my opinion. And to get him locked down on his visit, that's a really good thing because you didn't want this dragging out. It's nice to know that Mizzou's running back position is in a good place again. Now, some people may ask in the comments about Kanye Udo, the Army running back, who was also visiting. Would Mizzou still take him? I honestly don't know at this point. If I was the staff, I certainly would. That would certainly give you a monstrous backfield with Hardy and Udo. Both rushed for over 1,000 yards this past season. But the concern would be scaring off someone like a Jamal Roberts or one of your new running back signees. I wouldn't really be afraid of that, though. One, you can't really plan for them to be around in this new age of college football. I think you have to add talent where you can. And as far as a guy like Jamal Roberts, I understand a lot of Mizzou fans like him, but I don't know if I ever see him being anything more than a third down running back in the red zone or whenever Mizzou needs a pass blocker in there. He carved out a very specific role this past season, and he was good in that role. And if he wants to stick around and continue playing that role, I'm completely fine with that. But I don't know if that's someone that you're banking on to fill the shoes of a Marcus Carroll or a Nate Noel. I don't know if he's quite that good. So we'll see what happens there with the Army running back, Kanye Udo. But for now, if Hardy is it at the running back position, I think that still puts you in a really good place. And then you would still have Jamal Roberts, who fills a solid role. And then freshman Marquise Davis. I mean, you're in a really good place there. And probably even in a better place than you were with Kawan Lacey. Because, again, production over potential, like Drinkwitz praise. But that is my reaction, my thoughts on Mizzou landing 4-star transfer running back Ahmad Hardy out of the transfer portal this evening. I want to hear from you guys, though. What are your thoughts on this pickup? Looking forward to hearing from you guys. I think this is probably my favorite transfer portal acquisition so far. And we'll see what happens on the quarterback front. I'll tell you what, though, if they land Bo Pribula from Penn State, that RPO game is going to be dangerous with him at quarterback and Hardy at running back. But let's hear it from you guys. Want to hear your thoughts. All that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Mizzou fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com for more. And I'll see you all in the next one. And as always, MIZ.